So my name is Zvi Bekerman. I recently retired from teaching many years at the School of Education of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, where I taught in the area of anthropology and education. I have dedicated most of my research to better understanding the management of identity and culture within educational systems that try to bring together different cultural groups. So since I've been looking at issues that relate to multicultural education, bilingual education, citizenship education, peace education, etc.
So according to this, which is according to your specialty and your educational field, how is it vinculated to the project? If you can tell us a bit about that. Well, I think it's obvious, but if you can explain it a bit more.
So other than the obvious part, which is that I've been involved in intercultural education.
Yeah, sure.
I think that as I see the issues related to intercultural education, maybe the way I relate is by being somewhat a bit different and trying to make our understanding of intercultural much more inclusive than what traditionally is. Since it is at least my impression from the literature that for the most part, when people speak about intercultural education, they focus on culture in ways that I do not always agree with, and they also seem to exclude other differences, which they are inclined to call disabilities or some type of physical deficiencies. And from my perspectives, all differences should be included under the title and the approach we're trying to implement.
Okay, thank you, Zvi. And about your model based on the heuristic approach, can you explain what is it about and how does it impact in teacher formation?
Well, I'm not sure there's anything new about the ways I look at this, or at least I'm well aware that I have colleagues that are in agreement or that I follow even in terms of what I'm trying to describe. So first, I'm trying to make a point that differences, for whatever they are, they're usually the same, a difference. And the problem and the issue that we need to confront first is understanding that differences by themselves are meaningless, that we need to understand which type of differences make a difference, meaning what type of differences we become attentive to. Given that everything is different, we don't pay attention to everything, but to specific things. Realizing that paying attention to certain differences does not take an individual decision or an individual trait, but the organized work of a context. Only a context that work, interactants, participants in the context, the materials we use in the context, etc., can get organized to get us to pay attention to this difference or other. Things that we might assume to be totally natural as a difference, like a Jew and a Palestinian in my country, or in yours maybe a Spaniard and a Roma, clearly are not natural differences. Somebody's working very hard to make it become a difference that makes a difference. So those are the things that worry me, and those are the things that I want to approach. And I think they're relevant to teachers and students because that's the only way in which they might be able to create curricula that might influence the way we relate to these differences. Okay, the moment
Okay,
we
Zvi.
realize that every difference is a difference, and that making it become a consequential differences takes a whole context, maybe we'll end up trying to analyze what type of activities make certain difference become relevant. And then we might be able to change them. Okay.
Okay, Zvi. Thank you so much. Very interesting point. And to finish, which contribution of the project would you highlight?
Look, in as much as I understand, the present project is focusing on the needs, the perspectives of teachers, the needs of teachers, etc. So clearly the contribution should be in that direction. My personal hope is that the project can contribute ultimately to create serious, proper, relevant teacher training programs for training new teachers or for training on the job teachers that are already working. Europe is indeed in a great necessity to try and do something through education to contribute to the tensions that exist within the variety of populations inhabiting Europe today. And if they can manage it, and if we can manage through this project to contribute in a small way to better trained teachers that clearly don't carry the responsibility for all solutions. They can only contribute a little bit within an educational system to alleviate present conflicts. I think that would be great.
And do you think that would be the next step to follow?
Well, the next step to follow, I think, follows from what I just said. Investing much in teacher training,
Teachers.
investing in teachers and teacher training and helping them learn how understand the literacies they need to analyze the world that makes these differences become relevant, because only the moment they know how these differences are built, they'll be able to develop a curriculum that might be able to deconstruct them and reconstruct them differently in such a way that instead of creating obstacles for dialogue, they might be able to bridge present perceived differences.